Welcome everyone. Good morning. Thank you for joining us for the Innovation Seminar, the Andrews Innovation Seminar co-curricular this morning. This mic is mostly for the recording, for those who couldn't join us, so we can have better audio than recording. But welcome. Today we're going to talk about Lean Campus business model. Okay, Lean Campus business model. How many of you have heard of the Lean Campus business model before? One person. You just walked in, so you already got it. Come on in, guys. Come on in, join us. So we have the Lean Campus business model. Really is a simplified version of a business plan. Okay, it's a simplified version of the business plan. That's the easiest way for me to explain what this is. And really, the goal of the Lean Campus business model is to help you create a simple business plan without having to spend hours and hours creating one. Why is this useful? Is because when you are starting a business, your business model really is going to change a lot. You're going to change quite a bit. So creating a full 20-page, 40-page business model is really not advisable. It's going to change so much that you're going to be wasting your time to a degree. While this model is easy, you can scratch things, erase things, change it, update it, pivot constantly, and you're utilizing your time better. But before we get into it, just a couple of announcements. The Startup Lab Incubator. So some of you have already joined the incubator. Raise your hand if you already applied and joined the incubator. I see some of you here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of you here. So what is the Startup Lab Incubator? It's a place where you can find resources and support to grow your business, your startup, or your nonprofit or ministry. We have drop-in advising. You can meet with myself and some of the other mentors and coaches to help you develop. We have workshops like this one today. We have open mic events, networking events, business plan workshops, and the pitch competition. If you want to participate in the pitch competition, if you're thinking about it, you have to be registered as part of the Startup Lab Incubator. And this is the form you need to complete to officially join the Startup Lab Incubator. If you haven't completed this form, you're in luck because the deadline is this Friday to complete this incubator form. All right, so complete it. Even if you need to send it to a friend, you send the link to a friend so they can complete it. If you know of anyone else who might be interested in joining the incubator. And like I said before, the incubator is just a place where we are gonna support you, work with you one-on-one in developing your startup or business. The other thing you need to know is that if you want to participate in the pitch competition, not only you have to be part of the incubator, officially registered, you also have to attend these seminars. And some of you who already met with me this last couple of weeks, you already know this. But you will have to attend the seminars. They are required. If you miss one for some reason, you have a special situation, we are recording them so you can go back and watch them. But we don't want someone to just kind of skip all of them and just watch them last minute to participate. Really, these workshops are meant to help you develop your idea into a startup, into a business, or a ministry or nonprofit. All right, so if you're skipping on this and then you go into the pitch competition, you might not fare very well. Right? You might struggle a little bit explaining to the judges what is it that you're doing. The point of this is helping you develop that. Next, the last announcement I have for you is that this Thursday night at 7 p.m., we have an open mic session. So a Startup Lab Nights is going to be places where people can just go up front, talk to the other students about what is it that they're working on or an idea they have, and then get support, advice, recommendations, whatever it is from the group. Right? And do some networking. You get to meet other students too. A lot of times when we get together it's either a seminar or an event. There's not a lot of opportunity for you guys to interact with each other. If you're looking for someone to help you develop an app, or you are in creating some technology and you need a co-founder to help you develop your ministry, nonprofit, your business, these networking sessions are really, that's the main goal. And then the open mic, this Thursday we have a seminary student who's creating some apps, some technology. So he was gonna talk more about that this Thursday night. So come, there's some refreshments too, so join us. This is a campus center, so it's not here, it's campus center, leadership lab, that's a classroom by the main entrance to campus center. Just join us, it's supposed to be a very informal place, you just come, hang out, learn about what other people are doing. If you want to, you don't have to RSVP, but it helps us know who's coming. Then you use that QR code for this event. Okay? Any questions so far on what I've been talking about? We're good? Yes?
I'm sorry, Mayor, so this one is the deadline to sign up for that incubator. Did you say that?
This Friday. This Friday. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so let's dive into the Lean Canvas model, right? So there are some goals that we have here, but really number 2 and number 3 are probably the most relevant to most of you. When you want to create an up-to-date Lean Canvas for your business or ministry, and you want to validate your idea. So the way it works is that you create this Lean Canvas model. This is a hypothesis of what you think your startup or ministry is, how it's gonna operate. Then you're gonna go validate it. Later on, we're gonna do some workshops to teach you how to go validate this business model. Right? You're gonna go talk to people, you're gonna figure out if this actually is true, what you think how your ministry or business should operate. Right? So you're gonna go validate it later on, and that's why you need to start with this business model first. So in the left side of your business model, you have something that says problem and another box that says solution. So let's start with problem. And I wanna see you writing. We're workshopping your idea right now. So if you don't have the worksheet, you can use another piece of paper and just thank you, you kind of create those boxes around it. But let's start with problem. What are the top 3 problems that your target customers face? And when you think about customer, these are the people who you're gonna serve through your ministry or your business or your nonprofit. What are the top 3 problems that they face? Just focus on problems. Don't think about solutions yet. Just think about what is it the problem that they are facing that you care about. Okay, focus on fundamental issues. Consider how these problems are currently being solved, if that's relevant to what you're thinking about. But really, what are the problems? I'll give you a couple minutes because we're gonna march through this whole worksheet. Okay? If you walk into this seminar and you're like, I was not prepared to create a business, just participate. Think of something, a problem out in the world that you may care about or a business idea that you may have, and just work on it. You lose nothing by completing this Lean Canvas model. Okay, so don't worry if this is not something you plan on doing for the rest of the semester. But it's a good start if you want to get involved. Okay, I'll give you another minute or so. Don't worry, I'm not going to ask you to tell everyone here what you wrote on your paper, so feel free to get creative. Good. You seem to be putting your pencils down. Pens. Okay, so problem, main thing you have to understand when you are launching an organization, ministry, business, whatever it is, you have to know what is the problem you're solving. Some of you who have been meeting with me this past couple of weeks, I've been asking all of you, is like, what is the problem you're solving? Right? Because a lot of times we get excited about maybe technology or an idea or a business, like, oh, I can make, I don't know, a t-shirt business, let's just use as an example. And you get excited about that, but why would anyone care about your t-shirt business? What is it that, who are you serving, what problem are you solving through that, if any, right? And don't think of problems only as things that are very, difficult for people, but sometimes you can be providing a service that is not necessarily someone that needs your help, right? It can be maybe entertainment, it can be, because people need entertainment or want entertainment. So it could be those things as well. But there has to be a clear issue that you're addressing. Now, solution. Okay, so for each problem you wrote down on your paper, what would be a potential solution for that? If they are related, then you can just kind of combine it into one solution together. If there are very different problems, then you can write different solutions for each, but at some point you're gonna pick only one, so maybe start trying to combine those into one thing, right? So what would be a solution, a potential solution? Again, this model is gonna change, so don't worry about getting it perfect. Just worry about, right now, just come up with a solution. Think of a solution, write it down. There's really not a wrong answer right now. Right? You're just being, trying to create something, hypothesizing. Those of you who are in the incubator, you can use this time to work on the business or nonprofit that you already proposed within the incubator. So it could be the same thing you're already working on, but now we're getting into the details. Okay, does anyone wants to share what is their solution or idea that they wrote down on their paper? Just so we can break the ice a little bit too. Anyone wants to share? I can call on some names here. Anyone wants to share their idea or solution? Yes.
Okay, so problem I've noticed though, the Adventist Church does not have a lot of high quality or high budget looking Adventist movies or
Okay.
video games. There are some, but they are high budget. Correct, and they are not key to very, program practice and evangelism. So basically, there's also, that's one of the problems. Another problem is that I've noticed though that children don't have very many creative outlets where they're given free reign to create, innovate.
Okay.
But in spaces that would allow them to actually gain money. Another thing is that, for instance, children are also not given a lot of evangelistic tools or advice for how to make evangelistic tools. And another thing is that viral innovation is more minimal in some rural districts throughout the
And what's your idea? As a solution or idea that you're thinking about?
So essentially having a boot camp studio that brings students technical skills in building or making ministry tools for instance, movies, television series, video games,
Okay.
and helps them to actually like earn in profit for themselves even while going through the boot camp as like an opportunity to grow their own business or actually help them with reaching out to other businesses and industries that would allow them to have like an income and then also be able to creatively think of ways to draw people closer to Christ through evangelistic tools.
Okay, thank you for sharing. Yeah, that's a great example of problem, solution, right? So he found a problem, an issue that he cares about that, you know, and then, well, here's a proposed solution. Is the solution the best solution for the problem? We don't know, right? That's what you're gonna find out if you continue with this process. But the solution is only a proposition you're making right now. You think that's a good solution, and you know you're gonna march along. But before you launch into trying to do all this, we're gonna take some steps to help you validate that solution, so that before you launch, you have better certainty whether that's a great solution for that problem. Right? So yeah. So,
I have actually done a little bit of research on this, and I've also gone to, for instance, Christian production companies and things like this, and I've gotten to talk with people. Very interesting. Basically, though, if it is not publicly, like, if it's not spread through the internet, it will be able to sustain itself, but the growth will be hampered, especially since the previous projects will not be more available to the public. And that's what I've noticed for like theaters or like interactive experiences or things like this that capitalize like on creativity and on evangelism, but don't actually like capitalize on the internet or on digital tools or something like that for evangelism.
Right.
So there is a potential that bringing this could take it above what is already an existing business model.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Any questions on problem solution section of your business model? Here's an example. So there's a poor example and a strong example. The poor example is this cool app idea. Problem, people on board. Solution, a mobile app for everything. Games, news, chat. Right? It's not wrong, but it's also not very specific. Okay? So something you need to keep in mind when drafting your problem and solution, you try to become more specific as possible. So a better example here from Uber, problem difficulty in finding a clean, reliable, and affordable ride in a timely manner. Right? So that's a lot more specific. The solution, a mobile app that connects riders with nearby drivers, making it easy and convenient to get a ride. Right? So the solution also tries to get more specific into what exactly you're addressing. All right, next part of your Lean Canvas model. Let's look at the box all the way to on the right side of your paper, which is called customer segments. So the question you're gonna try to answer in that box is, what specific people or groups will benefit from your product? So consider the following details and characteristics: key demographics, behaviors, needs, and list as many characteristics of your ideal customers as you can. So, and let's just show you the example a little bit here. A poor example would be everyone. Okay, well that's not really a great customer segment. Or teens and adults. You're getting better. Anyone with a phone. Again, not very specific. That's not a great customer segment. Better customer segment could be, on the other example from Uber, urban dwellers who need to get around the city quickly and easy. Right, so now you're getting more specific into who they are, some demographics, and what are some of the needs that you're serving or they're looking for. Another example, business travelers who want a reliable and professional ride service, or people who need a ride when public transportation is not available or convenient. Other ways to identify your customer segments could be by age groups. It could be 18 to 30-year-olds. It could be college students, high school students, but try to get as specific as possible. It could be high school students, but is it everywhere in the world? Is it in the United States? Is it in Michigan? Right? Try to be specific, because you cannot, with your business or nonprofit, you cannot serve everyone. So if you claim you're gonna serve everyone, you're just gonna overstretch yourself trying to reach everyone. Instead try to be specific with who your customer is. Is that clear? Any questions on that? Okay. Give you a couple more minutes to finish that box. Yeah, so if you think if the customer segment is broad, try to narrow it as much as possible, or be specific as much as possible. You could say Christian ministries. I mean, it could be the whole world, but you're not going to start trying to reach them first. So maybe even if we could go wider, try to mention where it's going to start. Where you're going to start. Okay, so customer segments, I see most of you have something written there. Good. Let's keep moving on. Traction channels, or I think it's only called channels on your paper. Really, the purpose of this section is for you to identify how will you reach people and deliver your product. You're gonna, I have a list here of some examples of channels, but you're gonna identify 6 that you think will work for you, and maybe select 3 that you're gonna initially focus on, right? What is a channel? What does that mean? It means how are you connecting with your customer? How are you delivering, your business, your value proposition to your customer? How are you gonna market to people so they can become your customer? How are you gonna do that? Is it through social media? Is it through flyers? Put flyers on people's cars at Walmart? How are you gonna reach it? All right, so here are some ideas that you can choose from. Have viral marketing, public relations, search engine marketing, social and display ads, offline ads, search engine optimization, and so on. So there's a few here that you can choose from, and maybe there are others that are not on this list that you can also select. These are just some ideas for you to complete that box. So again, channels is how are you reaching out to people so they can first you can get them to become your customers. Okay, so it's a little bit more to focus on marketing in this part. Okay. Just to give you an example, continuing with the Uber example, with the Port example, the Cool app, their marketing channel is, or their channel is the internet, right? It's not a great example because it's not specific. There's so many options still open when you say, oh, we're gonna market through the internet. Yeah, that's pretty much everything. More specific, for example, Uber through mobile app stores. Social media and online advertising, strategic partnership with businesses and travel companies. So that's how they're gonna get customers. That's how they're gonna get people to use their service, their marketing. Okay? This box is not super hard, but yeah.
Just wondering, is there some, does it go under sales or like content marketing where you take the product and you use existing customers as like the basis for like the spread?
That would be more where you're talking about like
Like if
people doing testimonials about your product, sharing testimonials.
That's actually but I was just thinking about like, you know how, I guess it could kind of go in box office or something like that. Because I know some theaters or stuff like that that are interested in hosting the content.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
that's.
it could be through, it could be directly with the theater company. So similar to what they have here for the Uber example, strategic partnerships with other businesses. Yeah, perfectly fine option. Okay, is anyone still working on channels? No, we're good? We're good to go? Unique value proposition. That's at the center of your model. Now that you have identified the problem, the solution, who your customer is, now the unique value proposition is a statement, is one single statement where you're describing why is your product different, what exactly are you doing for your customer, right? And who is that customer? So let me give you an example here from the Uber example. It says, a safe, reliable, and convenient way to get a ride in minutes without having to worry about cash or hailing a taxi. So that's the value they're providing their customer. Okay, and the bad example, the Cool app, it says, it's like all the best apps combined in one, it's addictive and fun. What is the value? Like, I'm not understanding that what is really the value you're providing your customer. So the unique value proposition is all about telling what are you doing for your customer. It's not so much how you're doing it, although that you can mention that in the statement, but is it what is it? So in the Uber example, it's what they're doing is a safe and reliable and convenient way to get around or get a ride. How they're doing it, they're not even mentioning here that they have an app, right? So the value proposition is not so much about the how, it's more about what. What value are you providing? So I'll give you a couple of minutes to write down a value proposition statement. Just another way to write a value proposition, and you don't have to do this if it doesn't fit, but some people create analogies, right? So for example, YouTube is like Flickr for videos. I don't know, Flickr is kind of old school a little bit, but it was a place where you could host pictures back in the day. So when someone started YouTube, someone would ask you, well, what is YouTube? And you could say, oh, it's like Flickr for videos. Oh, okay, I get it. right? So creating an analogy is also a very good way to talk about your value proposition. But again, it doesn't always work with every company, so don't worry about it if that's not something that you could use. All right. So most of you already wrote something down. Anyone still working in their value proposition? Going once, going twice. Okay. Unfair advantage is the box right next to your unique value proposition. This one, it's not too complicated. Don't think about it too much. Really is, what about your solution is unique to you? It doesn't, your whole solution may not be unique, but maybe a part of it is. So think about, this has to do with your competition, other people doing similar things. But you have to identify something that is unique to you. Because then the question is, if someone else is already doing this and you're gonna do exactly the same, then why are you doing it? Right? Why are people gonna come to you instead of that other company or business that's already doing that? Okay, so there's gotta be something unique, something different that you have identified in your solution that is unique, or something that cannot be easily bought or copied by somebody else. Right? So it gives you that advantage over everyone else. So again, it could be specialized skills that maybe you have or someone from your team. It could be exclusive partnerships you have, proprietary technology. It could be something else that is just completely unique to you. So looking at the example from Uber, or let's start with the Ford example first. Their unfair advantage is our team is creative and nobody has thought of this exact combination. Chances are someone has thought about it, and yes, your team is creative, but is it really an advantage over someone else just copying, that cool app? Because you could create the cool app and then someone else sees it and say, oh, I can make a better version of this. Right? So what is your advantage? For Uber, years of location-based data leading to strong operational efficiency and route optimization. Right? So they have collected all this data over the years running Uber that someone else coming in trying to compete with them is going to have a hard time trying to beat them in that sense. Right? So I know there's a lot of other companies now like Lyft and others, but at the beginning Uber had a pretty good advantage. Not really a lot of competition for quite a few years. Okay, so unfair advantage, is that one clear? Any questions? Something is just one thing, or it can be more than one, something that is unique to you. Okay, and we only have 3 boxes to go, right? Cost, structure, and revenue. Cost structure and revenue. So cost is really, you have fixed and variable cost. It can be product development, marketing, distribution. You're just gonna list things that you're gonna have to pay for when running the business. You don't have to pay, you don't have to say how much, because you may not know this right away. But what are some things, some expenses you're gonna have to make? For most of you, it's going to be marketing to some degree, so that one is a given. If you're developing a product, then you can include that, distribution. If you're creating an app, maybe you need to talk about software development or app development. If you have personnel, maybe some salaries, things like that. So again, don't worry about getting it perfect, but at least you're getting a great head start on what some of the costs of your organization might be. So similarly, revenue. Here you're going to talk about how you're going to generate income. Is it through grants? Is it through sales? Are you gonna sell a product or a service and people are gonna pay you about? Are you gonna go ask the government for grants? Are you gonna ask people for donations if you're a nonprofit? Right? Are you gonna sell houses? What is it that, you know, how is income gonna come to your organization on a recurring basis? You don't have to say how much right now because you're still developing that idea, but you have to have an idea how income will come to you. Some examples here: subscriptions, direct sales, advertising. Again, there are many options of how you think income will come to you. Okay? And just to go through the example with Uber, so to have a little bit of a good example here. Their cost structure includes marketing and advertising, driver acquisition and retention, so that's marketing, but I guess a more specific way to say marketing is driver acquisition and retention. Development and maintenance of the mobile app and technology. So instead of just saying app, you can say development and maintenance of the mobile app and technology. All right, so those are some of the costs associated from running Uber, and some of the revenue is commission on every ride and surge pricing during peak demand times. Okay, any questions on cost and revenue? I see some of you are still filling out those boxes. I'll give you a couple of minutes here. Okay, and just because we want to get you out of here on time, we'll move on to the last box on your paper called key metrics. Key metrics. So this one, it's really about thinking in the future a little bit. So you're trying to figure out what is it that, how am I going to measure how my business is doing or my nonprofit? So what key numbers will tell you how your business is doing? Some examples: customer acquisition cost, engagement rate, customer retention. So those could be probably more related to like an app or or like a website. But select metrics that are aligned with your goals, and how might you be able to measure this metric? So it could be number of customers, it could be sales, it could be, so customer retention means how many people come back, right? Continue to stay with us, not just a single transaction. Engagement rate could be related to anything you're doing online. If you are marketing through social media, well, what is the engagement rate? Are you going to measure that? And if it's not improving, what are you going to do differently? You have to start thinking, what are you going to do differently to improve that? What do you need to change? Customer acquisition cost, that means how much are you spending on marketing just to get a customer to come and purchase from you? If you're running a nonprofit, maybe you want to measure anything related to your donors or grants that you are trying to acquire. So how many people are donating to your nonprofit or your ministry? You want to keep a tab on that. And with the example with Uber, acquisition, people downloading the app; activation, people creating an account; revenue, people making at least one trip; retention, number of people making at least 5 trips a month. So they can track those numbers, and that tells them a story about how the company is doing. Now, you could change those metrics, and he may tell you a slightly different story, but you get to choose what key metrics you want to measure. And that has to do with what you think is important to your ministry or nonprofit. Okay, any questions on key metrics? All right, we're doing good on time. So, just some concluding questions for you to think about, not something you have to answer. Some things to consider. Ask yourself, why doesn't your idea currently exist? This is a very important question because it's going to help you understand are you truly delivering value? Are you truly focused on an existing problem? And is this something that is nice to have or is it a must have? Right? Are you selling vitamins or are you selling pain medication? Right? You need to understand where you are because that's going to affect your marketing. Another question you need to answer to yourself is, did any of the sections of your Lean Canvas seem particularly weak or difficult to fill out, and why? If you had a hard time answering or filling out some of those boxes, maybe because you need to think more about that part of your business. Maybe you haven't developed your idea quite enough yet. And the last thing you should consider is sharing your Lean Canvas with another member of the incubator for feedback. Right? So they can look at it and tell you if there's a weakness in your business model, and that can provide you some feedback at this stage. I would recommend that you take a picture of your Lean Canvas, so in case you lose that paper, you can always have it in the future. I will also recommend you that you can go online, you can search Lean Canvas templates. There's thousands of them, and you can download one and you can keep workshopping your business model. Right? This version of your business model is as good as it is today. But you can keep developing this over time and improve it, and or completely pivot from what you wrote today so that you're not stuck with this. That's what I'm trying to say. This can change and it can improve. Right? It's gonna evolve with your business. Okay, so if there are no questions, this is the QR code to sign in for co-curricular. And if you do have any questions, you can approach us after you're done. But basically, once you're done signing in for co-curricular, you're free to go. If you have any questions, I'll be here for the last 10 minutes of the session, okay?